Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the Southern Wrestling Scholar, ZJ Pierce. This is Quick React, and we are talking about the March 23rd episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I don't want to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you're ready, I'm ready to tag me in. So the night starts with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar coming out to call Obafemi an overhyped rookie, saying that Obafemi had to take advantage of Brock Lesnar already beating up 20 people and being distracted by Seth Rollins for him to hit the Fall from Grace Powerbomb. And at WrestleMania, Obafemi has no chance against the Conqueror of Conquerors, the Beast Slayer, the 1-21-1, because how many people have gone to WrestleMania and tried to put down Brock Lesnar and were unsuccessful? This is where we name drop Dean Ambrose and Bobby Lashley. We mentioned Goldberg, and pretty much everybody else beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania because Seth Rollins two-peated Brock Lesnar. But that's neither here nor there. Says even John Cena couldn't put down Brock Lesnar. So Obafemi has no chance. This then brings out the ruler, who is attempted to be F5'd by Brock Lesnar, but Obafemi obviously gets off Brock's shoulders and throws him over the top rope, Royal Rumble style, for a very cool visual. And I need Obafemi to go over at WrestleMania. I need it. This is the perfect time for Brock Lesnar to put someone over, especially this caliber of athlete, because Obafemi is worth all the hype that they're pushing into him. I cannot wait. Next, the Usos took on Logan Paul and Austin Theory of Division in a non-title match. This was more segment than match to get over that Jey Uso is very hot-headed, because towards the end of the match, Logan Paul will attempt to use the brass knucks. This will lead to LA Knight coming out, attacking Logan Paul, and taking the brass knuckles and throwing them to Jey Uso. Jey Uso would put the brass knuckles on and lay out Austin Theory in full view of the referee, causing a disqualification for the brothers Uso. Just for good measure, he went back and laid out Logan Paul too. But backstage, LA Knight tells Jey Uso that he needs to calm down because he's starting to sound a lot like Roman Reigns. This gets Jey very heated, and Jimmy, being the cooler head, says, yo, maybe chill it on all the Roman Reigns talk. I love it. I love this whole little setup for Jey Uso, and it really paid off in the main event segment. Next, Becky Lynch came out to say that she can't believe that we're cheering for someone who dished us for 10 years. Meanwhile, when she goes away for 10 months, it's because y'all are tired of her being successful. But on her return, to prove that she wasn't just all about the main event, she came back to the mid-card scene. She came back to the Intercontinental Championship scene, and she made the Women's Intercontinental Championship what it was. And now it's around the waist of someone whose biggest accomplishment was mastering the Divas division, while it was women like her, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks who murdered the Divas division, ripping the butterfly wings off the title and all. This will bring out AJ Lee, who look like she's ready for a fight, but Becky Lynch will make her exit through the crowd, with AJ Lee ultimately challenge Becky Lynch to a match at WrestleMania for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, which is exactly what Becky Lynch wanted, and she welcomes AJ Lee to the big time. Next, Javon Evans takes on Grayson Waller in a singles match, with the overarching story being Kofi Kingston trying to be a mentor to Javon Evans, much to the chagrin of Grayson Waller, because over the last few months, Grayson Waller has pretty much just done the bidding of the New Day, but has never been officially offered a spot in the New Day. And with Xavier Woods currently being injured, there's not much really for Kofi to do. And that story did play into the match, as there were times when Grayson Waller would distract the referee, hoping that Kofi Kingston would take a couple of cheap shots at Javon Evans for him, but that would never happen. The finish ultimately coming with Javon Evans hitting a walk-up Super Hurricane Rana and the OG Cutter on Grayson Waller for the win. Fantastic match. Self-kiss. Loves it. Backstage, Paul Heyman demands that Division is giving a tag team title match against the Usos next week in Madison Square Garden, and that it should be a street fight. Pierce considers it and is made official later in the match. But as Paul is leaving, Pierce reminds Paul that he asked for time to deal with Seth Rollins, so now it's time to go deal with that. So Paul Heyman is in the ring, and says, honestly, he's a man who's scared because he has no one to hide behind. Logan Paul and Austin Theory are half conscious. Brock Lesnar is so hot about what happened earlier in the match that he already left. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are not going to be back anytime soon. So he tells Seth Rollins just to come out and put him out of his misery. This leads to Seth coming through the crowd and landing on the announce table, unmasking himself. But swerve, here come the police. Here comes the po-po. Because Paul Heyman has put a restraining order against Seth Rollins. And Seth, being 50 feet of him, violates that restraining order. So, as Seth is being taken away by police, Paul Heyman tells Seth Rollins that he's going to jail. And while he's in jail, Becky is going to leave him. And when Becky's leaving him, someone's going to have to call social services about that baby. But don't worry about that baby, because I'm going to adopt your baby and I'm going to raise your baby. And in this round, it's around this time when Seth Rollins just beelines it around from the police to this ring. And, gets a quick little forearm shiver to Paul Heyman before continue being arrested. Gotta love that for Seth Rollins and that baby. Next, the Kabuki Warriors took on Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and I guess a pseudo number one contenders match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. This is still just about Asuka berating Kairi Sane, because Kairi Sane has the worst case of Stockholm Syndrome. Like, girl. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley will get the win when Lyra hit the Nightwing on Kairi. And backstage, Kairi would be berated by Asuka, but would attempt to be saved by Io Sky, who was then interrupted by Raquel Rodriguez, who blames Io for her loss against Stephanie Vaquer last week. So they're going to have a match next week. But after their victory, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria challenged Lash Legend and Nia Jax to a match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships next week at Madison Square Garden. Cannot wait for that. Danhausen curses I Show Speed because sure. And Stephanie Vaquer attacks Liv Morgan while she's making the entrance with Dominic Mysterio ahead of his Intercontinental Championship match against Penta. This was all we get from the Women's World Champion this week. So, like I said, there's really nothing to write home about as far as the Judgment Day segment. And in our main event match, we get the aforementioned Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. This was a very fun match, and a lot of history playing into the match, as this was the same building which John Cena beat Dominic Mysterio to become Intercontinental Champion last year. But these two put on a very good match. Finn Balor would come out to distract Dominic Mysterio in the end, allowing Penta to roll him up. And as in the post-match, it looked like Finn Balor was going to attack Dominic Mysterio. Dom will run through the ring and would instead have to beat up JD McDonough, the Irish Ace, because how dare you turn on me for Dominic Mysterio. And in the main event segment, CM Punk confirms what Roman Reigns says, that he is old, but he's proud that he's old because he doesn't feel old. He still feels like the best in the world, and he doesn't care that Roman has sent the entire island of Samoa after him. This brings out Jey Uso, who is ready to fight because Jey still feels that CM Punk is disrespecting the family. CM Punk says, you never got your world title rematch that you earned, that you deserve, so I'll fight you right now. This brings out Jimmy Uso, who reminds Jey that you need to stop getting so hot-headed because that's what got us disqualified earlier in the night. And we also have to worry about these tag team titles that we have to now defend in a street fight next week. But Jey doesn't care about none of that. He said he's ready to fight CM Punk, and since Roman ain't here, he'll gladly do it. This then brings out Roman Reigns, who tries to convince Jimmy to get Jey and leave the ring. But then CM Punk makes a snide little remark, and Jey Uso attempts to go over and attack CM Punk. CM Punk would deck Jey Uso. This will lead to Jimmy Uso scuffling with him in the corner, letting Roman Reigns hit the Superman punch. As the Usos are getting out the ring, being separated by officials, Jey notices Roman getting out of the ring and yells, Joe, you need to get him. Squash them all. Get him. And Roman Reigns would proceed to get him, hitting CM Punk with a spear and powerbombing him through the announce table. Did Jey Uso just give Roman Reigns an order? And then Roman Reigns execute that order? It's getting there. We finally getting to Jey Uso as tribal chief. especially if it costs them the tag team titles this next Monday, y'all, it's gonna be great. Chef Kev's like, I love it. Like, first Solo was being compared to Roman Reigns. Now Jay, man, this Samoan stuff getting juicy. But yes, that was the March 23rd. March, sounding like Becky Lynch right there. That was the March 23rd episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Please let me know what you thought of the show and of this video in the comments. Please remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And if I could leave you with an excerpt of anything, I would like to leave you with Matthew 23:12 from the New Testament that says, those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. God loves when we come before him with humility and praise, because we do everything that we're able to do, no matter what we accomplish, goals that have been met. We do it all through the power of the Lord, our God. He's given us the ability, the steps, the skills, all that to make whatever we want to come true. So don't take pride in yourself for when you accomplish something. Remember to give your thanks to God, and he will exalt you higher. But he will humble those who forget about him and are prideful in themselves. So remember, thank God for everything that you're able to accomplish, because it's through him that you're able to accomplish it. In the meantime, for Quick Reacts, I'm the Subtle Wrestling Scholar, ZJ Pierce, and I'll see y'all next time.